up, faithful? Welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Austin, Maddie B, who is inactive tonight, and your girl Bex. It is Wednesday, April 16th. We are 2 days post my birthday, and we are 8 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. It is right around the corner, faithful. Before we get to our special guests, we are first brought to you by Faithful Gear. Get your customized Niners gear at faithfulgear209.com and tell Robert that we sent you. Again, it's faithfulgear209.com. So without further ado, let's bring on our special guest. We have Dieter Seelig from the co-owner of Finnerty's in New York City. Dieter.
Hey, what's going on? How are you guys? Thank you so much for having me. How are you guys all doing?
Doing well.
Good.
It's Wednesday.
It is.
Wednesday's a great day.
It's hump day. That's right.
We're still celebrating Jess's birthday, so
yeah.
Right.
Woo. Cheers, Jess.
Thank you. All right. So let's get right to it. Tell us how the idea of Finnerty's came about.
So I worked in bars since I was 19 years old, just doing security, and worked my way up to management. In 2009, I had the opportunity to buy a bar that I had actually previously worked at, and I ended up talking to my one of my other bosses and good friend Brian Stapleton, and he owned a bar with his dad called Plug Uglies. So there was an opportunity in 2009 to buy this bar, Finnerty's, and it was located on 2nd Avenue. Originally, it had been on 3rd Avenue. And then it moved. It was never a Niner bar. It used to be just an East Village dive bar, college, NYU bar. And I just certainly thought there was an opportunity to build a better bar, especially after 2008. There were a lot of bars that went out of business with the financial crisis. And so we ended up, mortgaging our house. Brian, just did everything to make this happen, and you can't thank him enough. And then we took over this bar that was really a dump, and we just, first thing we did was probably put $7,000 worth of TVs in, and we were like, all right, we're gonna do some sports over here, and so we ended up opening March 13th, and then over the summer as we were building the place, because we never closed, we just did all the construction in the morning, and then at 2:00 in the afternoon. All the construction equipment got put away, and we'd reopen, open for daytime business. We reached out to a small group of 49er fans. They were going to a bar about 20 blocks north of us. But the bar was, they wouldn't put the game on with sound. They always asked, could you put the flag outside? And they wouldn't do it. So, we just saw an opportunity like, hey guys, we just built this awesome bar. We just got all these TVs up. We'd be more than happy to put a 49er flag outside. Totally coincidentally, I grew up a 49er fan. Just, my dad's from Germany. There was no sort of like passed down lineage of fandom. So for me, growing up in the 80s, watching Joe Montana, John Taylor, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, this was, I can, without boring you, I can remember so many details of Super Bowl 24. I was staying at my dad's hotel down in Florida. We're sitting there eating pizza, just watching them destroy the Broncos. These things have just burned in my brain. I wrote book reports about Joe Montana. I was a freak. So it's just so totally coincidental. But there was a 49er group going to a bar uptown, and one of our bartenders also had worked up there. We were like, hey, get us in touch with the guy in charge. And his name was Joey. And it was 20 plus people, maybe 25. And that season, I think we ended up doing started off like 3-2 or something like that, or 3-1. It was like pretty exciting because we got like 60, 70 people coming in, and we were like, all right, jackpot, we did it. And then then I think they lost the next like 12 games. So so I was like, phew. But you know what? We kind of literally planted our flag in the ground, and so the following year. It just sort of spiraled from there, because even though the Niners weren't particularly great in 2009, people knew us a great deal more in 2010. And then we ended up having a really fun run with the San Francisco Giants. And then that led to just more awareness in general about us existing in the first place. I would say more people know about us in San Francisco and the Bay than they do in New York City. So there was always situations where, there would be a Niner game, especially if it was like a Monday night game or a Sunday night game, and the whole city is just desolate. And there's just 300 fans just losing their mind at the bar, and people walk by going, what the hell is going on in there? So it's pretty cool. there's not necessarily, we don't want to say like enemy territory because, I mean, yeah, there's rivalry in sports, but we always do it in a nice manner. And I would say anybody comes in from a New York supporting fan, usually they just come in and go, maybe it's not for me, but they come in, they have a good time. The bartenders are friendly, the drinks are strong. Let's have a good time. So, we try to make everyone welcome.
So why New York City?
Well, I would say I just grew up here in New York City. So I'm a born and bred New Yorker. So I grew up in Midtown New York.
Hey.
Yeah. So for
good
me,
to see a native. Well, hey there.
Yeah. I just had a 14, not just, but I have a 14-month-old daughter, and I just love the fact that she gets to tell everybody else, "Yep, I'm just from New York City." So it's just like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Congrats.
really
Congrats.
Thank you. So, I mean, I always like the idea of. I don't think I would ever want to open a bar in a place I don't really understand or know, and so New York City is really, rife with transplants and people coming from out, everybody's coming from somewhere else. And so we had no idea. I think, this is pre-pandemic, but I think pre-pandemic, other than Washington, D.C., San Francisco had the most number of transplants in New York, if you excluded the tri-state area. So like, we didn't know this. We're not the analytics guys, but, we stumbled on something and we were like, holy cow, let's just keep doing more of this and swerving into it more and more.
So being on the East Coast, I know you said you have no lineage from your dad, just being a 49ers fan, but being a Bay Area sports fan, like, how did that come about? Like, you have your San Francisco Giants, are you a Sharks fan?
Yeah. I mean, whenever they're on, I watch them, but you know what, that's the biggest thing, I think, for people watching games. I mean, it's less so for the 49ers, but when you're talking about the Warriors or the Sharks or the Giants, you're talking about 10, 15, 10:30 start time. And it's so self-selecting. It's really hard to, so then there's a niche there, and that was something that we were kind of excited about. It's like, but it's also tough to expect people to come out and stay, past halftime on a Monday night game. It's just, it's not like this is ending, it's 9:30 at night. It's it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So I would say it came about basically watching the teams. Like even though I grew up more of a 49er fan, watching these other teams and watching them so much. I mean, my goodness, I must have watched 500 games in the first 3-4 years of having Infinities because we were just always there. So
always on.
And so, what, and you watch it, and then you get involved in draft day, you get involved in, up and coming players and oh my God, the trades are happening. So it just envelops your life. So it's just one of those things that you either have to deny it or just embrace it. And so for me, I'm more of the embracing type.
Yeah. Last night, the Warriors game was on at 10. And I tried so hard to stay up and watch it. I just couldn't do it.
It was rough.
As a Laker fan, I feel the pain.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
I haven't watched basketball in a while, but I wanted to see if they would get in or not, and they did.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. We actually ended up having a really nice crowd. A Sunday after the Giants game, I made it over back to Infinities, and even though they lost the game, there was a good 150 people in the bar. I was like, that's freaking awesome on a Sunday. Wow. And then that was awesome. And then last night, I would say, I have like 75, 80 people in the bar, but it's a 10, like you said, I think the actual tip-off was 10:15 or something like that. And the game didn't end till 1 a.m. practically. So, that was a long night for a lot of people. And so just the fact that people make the effort and hang out with us, that's fantastic.
Awesome. All right. So you closed in 2020. 5 years later, you're back, new location. Tell us about it. Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, closing, I think I've touched on this before. It's just like, being in hospitality, having bars in general, like we've had to close places. We've typically known, hey, your lease is up, your lease is coming due and things like that. And, having a place, especially a month after the pandemic, a month after the Super Bowl, like February, was it 8th, 10th, 6th in 2020, we're there, we're losing our minds. We've got 400 people crowding out the door. And, 35 days later, we're shutting that door and never reopening. So, I mean, there were a lot of tears shed, taking all the memorabilia down, taking all the pieces that we were going to hopefully use again, which we have, without spoiling it, but we got to reuse all, pretty much all the memorabilia, added more, got to bring the taps, got to bring like the original taps from Infinities to the new location.
Nice.
So it's but when you're taking this stuff apart and you built it with your own two hands, you break down a little bit. And we released a video in November, I think, kind of letting everyone know that we were closing. And I mean, just the fact that, the 49ers released a statement on Twitter, just a big, I mean, we're a bar across the country. You know what I mean? It's such a crazy thing that anyone even think about us, let alone the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic and everything like that. The fact that we mattered as much as we did, it was shaking. And so like we ended that video kind of saying that, you haven't heard the last of Infinities. And I really, truly thought that we would find another place for Infinities. And I mean, less than a month afterwards, I would say I was out on my bicycle, just biking around the city, finding, walking into spots, trying to talk to brokers. And, we saw a lot of spaces that could have been Infinities. And then it really wasn't until April of 2023. And I just walked in, my broker had told us about a space, gave us an address, 18 West 33rd Street. And I walked in and I said, holy smokes, this is the old Foley space. So for anyone that hasn't been to New York and seen Foley's, I mean, you can probably go to New York and not see Foley's. But if you hadn't been to Foley's, it was this amazing baseball bar. It had like 3,000 signed baseballs on the wall. It was the Irish American Baseball Hall of Fame. It had these cool urinals from like the early 1900s. The floors were all original tile from like 1910. It was a cool space. They did an amazing job, and they also closed during the pandemic. And so subsequently, another first-time operator took over the place and royally screwed it up. They just did everything possibly wrong, just painted over 100-year-old wood, put laminate on top of mahogany bar top. I mean, it was a shame. I couldn't believe it. So I sat down at the bar, ordered a warm beer from a disinterested bartender when there's one other person in the place. And I texted my wife. I said, this is an auspicious day because I just found the new Infinities. And it's the process of negotiating a lease, having, tenants leave and all those other things. So that was almost a 1-year process of actually getting into the space, and then about a 9-month construction period. And so the fact that, that was about 2 years ago, almost this week, I think, that I texted my wife that. So it's a long process, but I never doubted that this was going to be an incredible bar.
That's awesome. I definitely want to come out there this season. I'm also in Northwest Jersey, so it's not the closest, but it's
definitely a bit of a trip.
It's an effort. You have to plan.
Yes.
You don't just jump on the train and go.
But on that note,
there's no train that comes out this far.
Gotta drive.
Open on Sunday, this coming Sunday for Easter.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Are you open on Easter Sunday?
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. Okay. We are agnostic when it comes to religions. So yeah,
I'll be in the city. So yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely come by. Yeah, we'll be open. We're in such a touristy area, being opposite the Empire State Building, which is something that we always talked about. In the event there was a reason to move Infinities, or if there was I always thought Midtown was an interesting animal because you kind of were closer to where people visit New York City, and sometimes asking people to come to the East Village, it was asking a little bit much, especially people who are have a limited time in the city when they're visiting with their family. So we're like, Midtown could be interesting, but this is 10 years ago we're talking about, so couldn't have predicted what happened. But yeah, so the fact that we're in such a touristy business area, we were like, we're 100% going to be open on Sunday. And we got the Warriors playoff game starting on Sunday night. So that's going to be a fun one too.
It'll be packed.
It will be. It will be absolutely. It'll be a Zoom.
No, but I wanted to make note of the fact that, part of the magic of the place is that it's so beloved and word spread so much about it that fans would make plans to come in and visit. Mm-hmm. Like there's plenty of people who from out of town who's like, hey, we got to go there and just check it out. Go see a game. Like one of my very good friends lives in Baltimore. He was like, hey, I'm going to drive up. Let's meet up and go to Infinities. And it's funny. he's watching right now. He sent me a text just like 5 minutes ago, like, "Hey, we got to go back to the new location. I'll let you know when I come up."
You have to.
So there it is.
Yeah. I mean, and so is he.
I'm
I
definitely
mean,
going to be there.
no, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the fact that, you know, the emails. I mean, this is, you know, even when we get mentioned on television, we did a wonderful video, like a thing called The Faithful with the 49ers. It was like a lovely 30-minute, you know, documentary. I don't know what you want to call it, but you know, and it was so bewildering to us that, you know, there was that kind of interest in that. And, you know, when you talk to people and they say, "Hey, this is on my bucket list. I got to get there before," and just see comments on, and you see comments on Reddit where people go, "I tried to go, but they had already closed. I wish," and it. You know, my sister-in-law was just going through a post on Reddit, and she texted me just screenshot after screenshot. And she's like, "I'm in tears. Like, I had no idea this mattered as much to people." And it's something that, you know, I feel like I have to always keep in my back pocket, because whatever we do, you know, like, we can't jump the shark. We can't, you know, sell out like that. This is something like, this is genuine. This is authentic. And I mean, it's so important, because we know how important it is for our fans and people that, you know, we can't wait to meet, but we haven't met, and they're 3,000 miles away, and they want to come and spend their time, spend their money. They want to come and cheer with us. That's just great. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And to Ty's point, when people do come to the city, we always drive in and meet up. And the one place we always take all the Niner fans is to Finnerty's. It was just always a thing. Either if it's football season, we're watching the game. If not, we're just going there because this is the place. I have so many pictures in front of the old place with just different people, different groups, different fans. You know, the New York chapter, we used to go in and meet up with those guys and watch games all the time. So absolutely, it's a mythical, magical place when they come from the West Coast, especially. We gotta go.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Second Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just walking by there today, and if you know, every single time I walk by, I'm going, "Oh, it's over there," and just, you know, just making sure the neighborhood is still holding on. But yeah, it's certainly bittersweet, you know. But knowing that the new Finnerty's, like, we wanted to build a bar for a 2025. We wanted to build a bar. Like, we were not trying. I know there was a big soccer bar called Nevada Smith's years ago. And similar situation, well, not similar, but the building was getting knocked down. So they were going to move. And I just remember they ended up building a shrine to themselves in the second location. And they didn't really do a great job of it, and they didn't succeed. And I just, like, the last thing I wanted to do was kind of jump the shark with building some tacky plastic place for people to come and then go, "Wait, this is Finnerty's?" Like, the idea was build an incredible sports bar that people are going to, whether you're a Niner fan, Giants fan, Ranger fan, any Mets fan, it doesn't matter. This is a great place to come and watch a game. And now that we're actually going to have a kitchen, which is a huge upgrade from the old Finnerty's, because thank God. It's like, you know, you can't expect people.
As a girl, I need to know: are you serving food?
Yeah, 100%. So our previous tenant, besides not doing a good job with the interior design, also apparently never paid their bills. So, like, apparently when we were doing construction, Con Edison, the gas company, came and actually disconnected the gas from the space, which led to like an 8-month delay in getting the gas turned back on. So we just got the gas and the meter hooked up last week. And so we have our cook in there this week working on it, and we're hoping to have food in the next 10 days. Maybe less. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing some really awesome stuff. Like, really, I don't want to spoil it too much, but we have some really fun ideas. So incredible, like, wings, garlic fries, chopped cheese, but doing it on Dutch Crunch, doing some really fun stuff that's like a different vibe. So like we're really looking to bring some cool stuff to the table in terms of food, because I don't want to be a bar that you go and you go, "Oh, well, I mean, we got to eat something." Like, the goal is, we're a bar first, but let's have some great food, and people will be like, this place is good. So that's a nice upgrade. So yeah, hopefully, certainly in the next month, and 100% in time for we're going to try for draft day. That's a good day to try and aim for at least having a small menu of finger food and get people in, because we know people's time has never been more important than post-pandemic, and it's
Yeah.
people don't work 5 days a week in the office. People aren't going out. They're ordering food all the time. They're ordering groceries. So if you're asking someone to come out and spend 4 hours with you watching a game, let alone the commute time and the travel time, that's a tough ask. And then say, and then go somewhere else and eat food, is kind of crazy. So I think, like I said, part of the 2025 Finnerty's idea was, we got to bring food to the table. We got to bring great food, and then everything else, whether the video walls that we have over there for the big screens, and we've done some really nice technical upgrades that I think people are going to appreciate.
Amazing. Yeah, we did not like having to walk next door to the Patriots bar to get food.
You know what? But since you'll know, we're actually going to be doing a platter of nachos called Tom's Nachos, because that was Professor Tom. So yeah, we're actually going to be doing a big tray of nachos. Yeah. So that's actually one of the items. So yeah, that's 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So anybody, before we get to 49ers talk, like anybody who's coming in, never been there before, or never has been to Finnerty's, but not to this new spot, as far as we have a question in the comments, how's the parking, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're in a super touristy area, and when it comes to obviously in Midtown, there's not as much regular side street parking as you would find in more neighborhoody residential neighborhoods. So I mean, that's actually a challenge for us, because this is the first bar we've ever done that isn't in a real residential neighborhood. It's in a far more business touristy district. So parking is never great no matter what. I will say, since congestion pricing went in, I'm sorry for all the drivers, but there's a lot more parking now than there has been before. Yeah. So but I would certainly give, it might be a situation where we're between 5th and 6th Avenues. You might have to park a little bit farther east, somewhere on 3rd Avenue, Lexington Avenue, Madison Park. You might have to move a little bit either way, honestly, or even 7th or 8th. But we're also very close to Penn Station. We're only 2 blocks away, 2 avenues away from Penn Station. We're a block away from two huge train hubs. So, whether it's the Q train, the N, the R, or the 6 train going the other way, there's a lot of methods of transportation get us here. I would say parking right where we are, I wouldn't bank on finding a place very legal, unless you have a commercial place.
Okay.
Or you go on a Sunday where parking is free. That's a tip for all of you out there.
There's not as much. I don't want to overpromise.
Well, because everyone kind of knows this, especially the city folks, they get there early and occupy everything. So you really can't find a space.
100%.
So don't let me gas you up, people. It can be
There's
done.
a lot of parking garages too, though.
Yeah,
of course.
There's a lot of parking garages.
There's a lot, and that's probably per capita the most amount of parking garages in anywhere in the city. So I think there are options, but I just would say the chance of you just finding a spot, down the block from us is going to be
that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy a lottery ticket that day too, because it's going to be a rare day.
You got really lucky.
A real exception, yes.
All right, so let's get into some 49ers football. What are your thoughts on the team up until this past season?
Oh, up until this past season? That's I mean, how could you not be excited? I mean, how could you not be excited to watch obviously, I mean, we've had a lot going for us. This last season was certainly more tough to go through, but coming off of, we've had a lot of dismal years in the past. And I mean, as much as we've hit the Super Bowl, I think 3 times since we've been open, we've had a lot of tough years. And so, getting out of the Jimmy Garoppolo era, and, I wish him all the best. I'm a Purdy guy, so, I'm excited to see what he can do. I think, you're going to have regression certain years, but I mean, you have all these interesting components. And now with draft day and the amount of draft picks we have coming up, I mean, I'm very interested to see how we perform. I mean, there's bones right now of a team that is absolutely stellar. And I think we just need to fill in with some very important little pieces of meat here and there. You know what I mean?
So you're more on the optimistic side than being a pessimist?
I think that's my nature. So I think I tend to lean that way anyway. But
I know where she's going.
just
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah, I think in life you kind of have to be. You
Yeah.
got to wake up every day going, today should be better, I hope. And but no, I think if there's a, with Salah and all these other things working in our favor, I think there's some things that could really work out this year. And you know what? If expectations are a little bit lower this year, that could maybe help us as well. So I'm kind of excited to see if we can come in and kind of surprise people. Maybe it's through drafting, maybe it's through new coaching. I think there could be some really nice moves that happen, because honestly, a lot of these seasons that we've outperformed have been seasons that we haven't necessarily been picked to be the killer squad. So I'm kind of excited to see how it goes.
So you're a fan of Kyle Shanahan.
I'm a fan of,
as Kyle is over her shoulder looking at you.
yeah. I'm a fan of
Are
Kyle.
you a fire Kyle guy, or Kyle is the dude?
You know what? I mean, having sat through, and I mean, there is nothing more depressing, and this is the truth, like being in a bar when your team loses in the last second in the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship is one of the worst.
Gut punch.
It's the I have stress dreams about this stuff. So it's like that's one thing you can't control. The game you can't control. So all you can do is make a great atmosphere. But it's really hard to get fans to not punch a wall when they're on the way out after a game. And so when it comes to like a Kyle Shanahan, I'm a huge fan until I'm not. I sometimes I think he's too clever for himself sometimes, and I think he grinds some guys to dust. That we have so many weapons, and then it just seems like certain games he just focuses on a game plan that he just went in saying this is what we're going to do, and I can't tell you how and he's certainly been successful enough going to the Super Bowl, getting to the Super Bowl as many times as he had is no small effort and no small accomplishment. So you can't take that away from him. But, they tell you it's like mentally coming in second is such a bigger blow than finishing third or fourth, like getting so close to the brass ring and then not making it all the way. I mean, you've seen those photos of what he looked like when he started, and it looks like that guy looks like he's been president for 5 terms. So it's just like
the eye bag game is real, right?
It's so tough. So
it's taking a toll.
It absolutely, of course. So yeah, I would say that there's a connection with him and Lynch, and obviously ownership. And I mean, coming out of the Balky era and everything like that, people forget just how toxic and how bad that was, because we've had so much success. Granted, not winning a Super Bowl, but getting close at least. I just hope we have the weapons. Hopefully we can play around with the cap space, get some more weapons. And I don't know, like just surprise people. Like don't it's like, okay, well, we're just going to do this. We're just going to run down the middle 100 times in a row. It's like, we have athletes out there. We've got George Kittle. We've got people that can do things that are, they're freaks of nature. Put them to work, So I'm just saying, I'm a big believer.
That's her man. George Kittle is her man.
I mean, how when you talk about someone that encapsulates like kind of what you want to see for, and not just for any team, but especially for the 49ers, like get somebody like that, and you just I don't say, and don't grind them to dust. Just use them when you can, because that guy is such an athlete. It just take advantage of that, but don't rely on it for every play, so I don't know. I don't want to wax on too poetic about it.
No. You're in good company here.
Yes.
Because we have this conversation like every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like George is that dude. He needs to be utilized more in smarter ways, because as Jess has coined the phrase.
Say it, Jess.
Go ahead, Jess.
Good things happen when the ball's in George Kittle's hands.
Always.
There you go. Always. Very true.
It's the 1 out of 100 times where he drops that big ball, or it's like the pass. But you have someone like Purdy who can get the ball in his hands and can read the defense and can make a good second option, and or check down and isn't like flustered by defense on top of him. I don't know. Like, how do you not rely on someone with that level of athleticism. It's like Larry Fitzgerald-esque, sort of like arms everywhere, and just let him make the plays, get him the ball, let him make the plays. And I don't know. I think so much of the season is going to ride on how we draft and how the coaching ends up, with the coaching changes, how that all pans out.
Yeah, I agree. What were your thoughts when Dre Greenlaw leaves, Talanoa Hufanga leaves, Kyle Juszczyk leaves, comes back, Aaron Banks? I could go down the list. What were your thoughts of just, these guys leaving for other teams?
You got to wonder why, right? You got to wonder like a little bit. And that's the question that, I don't think outsiders will ever know. We don't know what's going on in the locker room. We don't know what the higher ups in those conversations have been. So, that's the big question mark, where you wonder like, okay, is there actually something else going on behind the scenes that is creating this divide or pushing away, talent? And I'd like to think that's not the case. I'd like to think it's a matter of dollars and cents, because, I think that's money talks. And I think, these guys are all one injury away from never playing again. So I think, hey, you got to get yours. You got to be able to showcase your talent. But, you have, the Brandon Ayuks of the world as well. It's like, it's all about money. And then when it comes to putting in the performance, for whatever reason, not to take anything away from them, but, it just didn't work out. And so, yeah, I mean, losing talent, obviously it was great to see Juszczyk come back, but, like I said, why do you leave in the first place? Is it just dollars and cents, or is it because of a fundamental disagreement with management and coaching? I don't know. And I don't think, who knows? I'm sure someone knows. I'm sure a beat writer knows, but like, I don't know.
I think at the end of the day, it does come down to the money.
For Juice, definitely. The story came out, it was a conversation with them, salary cap thing. But when they couldn't re-sign Dre, all of a sudden they had extra money. Mm-hmm. They brought him back. Mm-hmm. So that's how that went down.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm just always very skeptical after the Balke period and everything else about, what the actual story is versus what we're being told. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I tend to buy what they say. So, hopefully they're just, they're putting the best team forward and giving them all the tools to win, and so if that's I think Draymond Green had a big thing yesterday after that win, talking about you win these championships with selflessness. You win these championships with just like teamwork beyond just like showing up and playing the game, and if you're not playing, you're still there supporting your players. You're helping them, you're getting them under, teaching them, helping them learn, even if they're younger than you. It's such an important part of this sport. It gets underappreciated because, the headlines are, hey, someone just signed a 7-year, $240 million contract. That's, and of course they got to get their money. So I completely understand that.
So your thoughts on what we did in free agency or what we didn't do? I mean, Luke Farrell was essentially our top free agent signing, the tight end from Jacksonville. Your thoughts?
We got I'm not exactly sure where the cap space is, or the cap is right now, or where the free cap space is. But I mean, there's a lot, I believe. I have to believe that so much of this is riding on what they draft and other things like that. I just feel like I don't think they're trying to get into rebuild mode. I would like to think they're not, because they have so much talent still on the team. But, I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't want to see more free agent movement from a team, in the offseason. So, it's certainly something I would prefer to see, but if I believe in them, I'll believe that they've got it's a tough, it's why I run bars and not franchises.
Well, every time we've made big free agent splashes, as we've talked on the show, they've not always panned out for us. So, I think the team has to believe that the guys on the roster are able to step up and perform the job, or we would have picked up more people.
Yeah,
in the off season is my belief, and maybe we're waiting on one or two to see what happens when the draft comes around. But I'm with you. You got to keep faith and believe that the people who run the business know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's the last bunch of years, right? They've done a pretty decent job for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And those pickups, and honestly, like, finding these, undervalued veterans and finding these guys that, can step in, there is some real value there. I mean, and also just value to like the people that you're drafting. So, that, you get to put a college, a 21-year-old under the wings of a 8-year pro, and maybe you only get 2 years out of this, or a year and a half, or whatever it may be from this, veteran, free agent. But, like, we've seen how well it can work, and, there's a little bit of a proven commodity. So, you always hope it's not just to save money. Like, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I mean, it's a business. So, I'm never really sure.
So Rob D wants to know your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey.
I mean, I would say ready to see what happens. I don't know. I mean, not 100% sure in terms of what to expect. So I would say, I'm probably the worst person to ask about this. I don't know. I would say, because I tend to defer to what we're being told. So yeah, I don't think I have a great answer on that, unfortunately. It's like, I cautiously optimistic for him.
I think he's too old and too expensive.
Yeah. He's going to want a lot of money.
Yeah.
We've had some success. We've had some success where we bring these guys, and you don't get it's not here for a long time, here for a good time. I don't know. I mean, it depends on.
Welcome to Finnerties. No.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right here for, so I would say it's a possibility. I think they want to make a splash at some point. I think that's a possibility, but I don't know. I've so far seen, I feel like a number of our drafts over the years, we've really swung and missed. And there is something about finding these guys that can really show up in the moment. So I don't know. I'm tending to give them the benefit of the doubt more often than not, but maybe that's more of my personality with it. But I mean, we've been bitten so many times, in both directions, that I feel like, when you watch these shows like Hard Knocks and you listen to the executives talking about, how much is the play? That's very scary when you watch these shows, and it's like the executives are just as, I don't want to say clueless, but just as in the dark about what other teams are going to do and their value. So it's such a human sport, and there's so many X factors. So I don't know. It's very humbling to think that I could possibly have a better opinion than these guys, but who knows?
All right. So moving on to the draft, we pick at number 11. I don't know if you follow anybody in the college ranks, or, if there's any particular player you want the Niners to pick at 11, or just position you think that they should go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think with the amount of, can someone let me know? I know it's a ton of picks. What's the actual number of picks they have this year? Does
11.
Have that?
11.
It's 11.
11.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just mayhem. Yeah. So
pick number 11 overall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you gotta, whether it's offensive line, but what's also like, we get Purdy, last pick of the draft, and now he's our starting quarterback. So college football is always, to me, a huge, I try to avoid it as much as possible, other than watching games, because I try to feel smart the week before the draft, watching all the mock drafts and everything like that, so I know a little bit something. I'm in opening Finnerties mode, so I'm still like not quite there yet.
Yeah,
so I would tell you the next couple of days I'll probably end up having a better opinion. But no, I would just it's just, you have an opportunity that even if you swing and miss on, even if you bat 33%, you have a chance to bring some players in that really could change the game. So I'm not saying we need to draft it'd be nice to get a confident kicker, just saying, down the line, And like that would be really nice. No offense to Moody, but like it'd be really nice when you think about those games that we lost last year. But yeah, I don't think there's no player jumps out at me as like, oh, this is who we should be picking. I just haven't had the time. And college is always just so enormous for me to wrap my head around. So for me, I'm more of a pro sports guy.
O-line or D-line?
You know what? I would love to see some D-line activity. I would love to see more pressure. I would love to just seeing, especially I think seeing what we've done in the past with the coaching the way it is now. I think there's an opportunity. Just you can shut down a team. It just changes the mode and the mentality for the offense to come in and strike. And honestly, even if it's just field goals, I mean, hell, we won the NFC. We went to the Super Bowl on field goals. You know what I mean? So like, but shutting down a team, making getting those interceptions and turnovers, like that is so critical to just breaking the other team's spirit. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see some more defense.
I feel like with Salah on board again, that's probably the way I'm leaning, that we're going to strike on the D.
Yeah, I think it's going to be heavily D-line and
a couple big
line throughout.
That O-lineman there somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You got weapons on offense. They're pretty much everyone's coming back.
Right.
Except for Debo, like everyone's back.
Yeah.
It's the defense that needs to be restocked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So should be going heavy on the defense.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, two more for me, Dieter, and we appreciate your time. Your prediction for this coming season?
It's going to be a great time to watch Games Affinities.
There you go.
I love it.
Great prediction.
That's a great answer.
We will organize an East Coast Red and Gold watch party.
Hell yeah, please. I mean, I think we should definitely do it. I mean, we know that they're coming to play the Giants. We don't know. We're waiting for the schedule to get released. We're excited for that. So we'll probably be doing a big tailgate out at MetLife or whatever it is now.
Nice.
I don't know. So I think it's still MetLife, but yeah, boy. So we'll probably be doing buses out and doing a big tailgate out there. So that should be a ton of fun. But yeah, I'd say it seems so silly because I think going into last season, I was just so ready to just watch them dominate. And then it was just I think coaching has so much to do with it. I'm so excited about Salah being back. I think, you get hungry young guys in there and a couple of veterans, I don't know. I mean, a winning season. Yes. I mean, I don't really know what I have to look at the NFC West and see where we stand there. But I mean, because once again, just not only just following the Niners, but seeing what every other moves all the other teams are making, I would say cautiously optimistic, ready to, make the playoffs. And then hopefully, defense wins games. You get into a playoff and then suddenly you just have a couple shutdown games, a couple surprises. And I think Purdy comes back around. I'm excited to see him just really get into himself a little bit more and get more comfortable.
Awesome. And besides the buses, is there anything else in the works that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, the tailgate takeover is obviously we have to see when because of course if it's on Thursday, if it's on Thanksgiving or something like that, everything. So we kind of have to see when they do these things. So it's just making sure when the schedule is announced. I would say we're definitely going to be doing the game day giveaways, which was something we love doing. We were talking a little bit earlier, but like doing these giveaways, the Joe Montana helmets, the Jerry Rice jerseys, the Steve Young signed footballs. It's just so much fun, getting on the mic, announcing the winner at the end of the game, especially when the Niners won. That's it's some of the most fun we've ever had. So it's like that. Definitely going to be doing that again. I mean, the bar is just a blast to come and watch. So hopefully we'll have some fun food that ties in with a little bit with the Niners, some wing flavors that are tied into the Niners, and then I think the actual game watching experience is going to be a whole lot better at the new bar. Just we have a lot more technology, bigger televisions, more televisions. I think people are going to have a lot of great viewing areas. So so expect the buses, expect the tailgate takeover once we know. And then, the game day giveaways. As you can tell, we love alliteration. So whether it's Affinities Faithful, game day giveaway, tailgate takeover, we're pretty good at very, very. So So yeah, I'd say those for sure. And then you know what, we'll see, because we've had a lot of people reach out to us about some really fun opportunities, and I'll tell you, I have a few ideas, and it's just a matter of making them happen. But if we can get them going, I think there'll be some really fun surprises.
Awesome. All right, Dieter Seelig, founder, owner of Finnerty's, New York City. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Pleasure was all mine. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see you guys at the bar. It's
can't wait to get down there.
Please do. It's 18 West 33rd Street. I know I mentioned it earlier. I just want to make sure you know, but yeah, 18 West 33rd Street, 5th, 6th Avenue, directly opposite the Empire State Building, close to Penn Station, 6 train, Q train, BDF. So it's like easy to get to, a lot easier than the East Village. And yeah, please, I can't wait to see you all over there. We can do some shots of Fernet.
What times do you open? Let the people know.
Yeah, so right now we're opening at 2:00 in the afternoons on weekdays, 12 on the weekends. But hopefully in the next 10 days we're gonna have some food going, and then getting open for lunch and slinging smash burgers. Try and do some like In-N-Out, Fin-N-Out style burgers and stuff like that. So we have some. We got some fun stuff planned. So yeah, hopefully once the kitchen's open, we're aiming to open at 11:00. Pretty much 7 days a week. We're just waiting for that to happen.
Nice.
Amazing. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. And we'd love to have you again down the road.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Count me in.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Take care.
Take care.
All right.
Friday. Good stuff.
All right. So let's go to our hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning.
Where is it? Bam.
Yeah, Becca.
Ooh, hey, look at that. It's the 2-minute offense. I have nothing other than I'm so happy to hear the Finnerty's is reopening. That's going to be amazing, especially if we organize something for the Giant game. Looking forward to that already. So here we are. Let's do it. Go Niners.
Yeah, Ty.
Yeah, Rob D. We got to meet up there. Got to make it happen this year. But yeah, so excited they're back open. It was, if you were there, even if you went once, you know how awesome it was.
Yeah. So
I'm sure that same awesomeness, the aura, everything will be back. Like us Finnerty geeks, even though they were closed, like we still followed them on social media and still talk to them. It's the wildest thing that we kept it alive in our hearts and on our spirits. I should have said this while Dieter is on. I'm crazy, but I'm so happy it's back. So yeah, faithful. If you're coming to New York, check in with me, Jess, Rebecca,
let us know.
Matt, let us know. We'll plan an excursion. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat. You guys are always awesome. Shout out to Dieter. Thank you so much. Steph Sanchez will be on with us next week, our resident draft guru. And as always, go Niners, and we'll see you next week.
See you, everybody.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.